Record. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to this very impromptu Facebook Live. Um, this is amazing, Stacia. We've got us both on the screen. That never happens on a Facebook
Well,
Live. It's normally just whoever's talking.
well, you know what?
I feel like the gods are
We
already
are we are going to be setting some records today. I just know
setting. I like the pun.
it.
We're setting records. We're making records.
That's right.
Um, right. I'm just going to see how we are on our page. We're
Yes.
good.
Is
We're
it
good.
getting
We're
my
good.
good side?
This all of your sides are your good
Oh,
sides.
thank you.
In the Akashic way, nothing is wasted.
No.
Everything's accepted. So, whilst we stop being silly, welcome everybody. I'm really pleased to introduce Stacia. So, Stacia was hello. Stacia's been in my world for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I announced Akashic Reiki to my students. It was very much behind the scenes. It was just to the people who'd been in my soul school or in soul space and in a couple of my other programs. Stacia had done Cure It with me. Stacia had done Reiki teacher training with me as well. And when I saw her name pop up, I was like, yes. Because what I know about Stacia is that she holds a lot of magic. She holds a lot of wisdom. There's so much going on there with the amount of, you're like me, I think. You love to learn. You love to know everything about everything.
Everything.
I've got a room full of crystals. It's like we're the same person. Um, and so yeah, and I remember the yes, and I remember it wasn't easy. There was things, Stacey's got a lot going on in her life, as many of us do. I would dare to say that you have more than most on your plate. Yet something happened. I think something called. And I heard you, saw you, felt you saying yes, um, almost despite everything, as well as because of everything.
Oh, yes.
And so I wanted to invite you onto my page and onto my YouTube channel so that we can talk about what it meant to be an Akashic Reiki practitioner, what's happened, and even just for us to catch up on, what the journey has been since Akashic Reiki. So, why don't we start with the beginning? Like, why? Like, why did you say yes? Like, what was it that made you go, mm-hmm?
So you hit it on the head. I am a lifetime learner. I want to know everything about everything, which takes me down these rabbit holes of, but there's more. And I need to know more before I can share this. And I just fall into these traps
Yeah,
every single time.
yeah.
And then you came on with this evolution of healing. And, I found you with Angel Team. And
Mm-hmm.
there was just something about you. I'm like, I like this lady. And you want to know a funny thing?
Tell
What I
me.
really liked about you is being that everything was so polished and it was almost like movie sets in 2020. We know what happened that year. You came on, you did this live, and your feed was kind of wonky. And I'm like, oh, I like her because you just kept going. And I'm like, that was something that literally was holding me back because I'm like, what if my internet's not good enough?
Mm-hmm.
What if I don't have a backdrop and a team that can lead me to talk to people? Like I had all these reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started following you. And then, of course, you just became more magical and you wrote a book and you did all these things. And it's like you brought me into this world that I didn't know existed. And my original experience with the Akashic Records
Yeah.
wasn't the best because
Yeah.
back then everyone wanted to prove how much they knew and who they were. And oh my gosh, I'm Cleopatra. And and it was things that didn't help. And it's like, well, that's great, but is everybody, Mary Magdalene? Like
Yeah.
it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I felt it a little bit, but not as when you started bringing it up, because you started bringing it up in a way that I'd never heard before because, in my role it didn't exist.
Okay.
And you started making things make sense where it wasn't looking at who you might have been, who you could be connected to, but it's more of that evolution and growth of the soul that you actually are.
Yes.
And so you started getting my interest with these little things that were really going along with the work that I was already doing.
Mhm.
And literally, you did that. Oh my gosh, you came in and you started doing you did an Akashic healing, or you did something in our BBS group, and then
Okay.
you did it in I'm in your soul space.
Yeah.
And it was like these really called me, and I really felt moved, and I knew that there was something there that I needed. But
Mm.
you hit it. My life was, it was in
Crazy.
turmoil,
Mhm.
you know, and I didn't think I had any space, and I didn't think that I could take anything else on because I had signed up for things that I hadn't even finished.
Yeah.
But there was something there, and what you didn't know is when I had the meeting with you, because I'm like, let me just talk to her. You said everything that I heard. I don't know where I heard it from,
Mm.
but you told me that you felt like this was going to help me. I don't want to say balance, but this was going to help me get to where I wanted to go. And that my intuition I would trust it more, and I would trust myself more. And it was all these things that I was missing, because as I was learning all of these things, I was also putting myself into a space that I could never be as good as the
Yeah.
people that I was learning from. And when you spoke to me, I'm like, I don't know where I heard this, but she's telling me things that I already know. And then we started. And even though everything continued to be, I was in the eye of the hurricane
Yeah.
going on around me, because
Yeah.
it wasn't that my father was ill, it was my mother was ill, and that they were both trying to, you know,
Yeah.
check out.
And there
And
was a
and
lot.
I was, yeah, I was holding it all.
Yeah.
But yet I was able to start to really look at myself in a different way.
Mhm.
And it was just so unusual that it happened because of these synchronicities that started to occur when I thought that there's no way in heck I can add anything else. And it wasn't that I was adding anything else, it was that I was remembering
Yeah.
who I was actually here to be.
Yeah.
And boy, that was pretty deep right out of the gate. I apologize for that. Like,
But
should we?
never apologize for depth, Stacia. But this is interesting because when, okay, so for me, when Akashic Reiki came through, I only knew what I knew about it and how it had been working with me. But and when we were speaking, this was what was coming through. This was, what I was seeing for you. And what I know about the Akashic records is that they come into the truth of who we are. And they understand that all of these, like, as Jessica calls them, life quakes happen, right? That there's almost two different routes that we can take. We can either come from our, what I describe in Akashic Reiki as overlays, or they can come from our divine blueprint. And I remember that call, and what was clear for me was, naturally you were working from this space of, fear and all the things that you had to do, and the overwhelm and the kind of the chaos energy that was coming in. And there was this other thing that was the thing that got you to click the button to book the call. And what I know about the Akashic records is when we really live from that divine blueprint, or even before that, when we know to tune into that more and we begin to know the difference between the two, that's when intuition gets strengthened. That's when trust in ourselves gets strengthened. And that was what I foresee would happen. But of course, I didn't know. I couldn't know that at that point because no one had learned it from me. I'd only had my own experience. So I'd like to know, despite what I said and the synchronicity of what you heard, what actually did change?
Ooh, it was like I've been on journey,
Mhm.
this journey home to myself, I guess would be a good way to put it. Once my husband passed away, and everything just has happened, I began to really work on me and who I was, not who I was actually pretending to be, I guess, this
Yeah.
mask that I put on, that I had to keep it together, and I have to be there for my family. I'm the mother, I'm the father, you know, I'm the daughter, the only daughter for my father and my mother. It's like I
Yeah.
had all of these roles,
Yeah.
and it really started helping me. It was one of the journeys that you did originally before you even announced this.
Mhm.
I really started seeing myself like where I was. I started peeling away the things that were keeping me in the space that I didn't want to be in,
Mhm.
without knowing that I didn't want to be there, because I thought that I was doing it all the way that I was supposed to, because, you know, I'm wearing all these hats, and it was like, well, wait a minute. What do I want to do? And how do I want to do it? And it was like, oh, well, this is interesting. And you always give me these profound questions to ask myself, you know, where it could seem very simple, but then when you start to peel it all away, and it's like, well, wait a minute, what what do I want? I thought I knew what I wanted, and I thought that I was doing the things that I needed to do, but it was like, but I'm keeping myself, you know, stuck and hidden,
Yeah.
because I feel like, you know, who am I? And it's like, but who am I? So it was like you start peeling these layers of this onion that I really thought that I'd looked at, but it was like I went back and I was seeing everything in from a different way, and from a different light, and from a different energy.
Mhm.
And it was more of an alignment
Mhm.
than, you know, like, oh well, you just said this magical word and it all just clicked. It was like, no, you left this trail for me, and I began to figure out that I had put on all these things that I didn't need,
Yeah.
and I could let them go. And it made it a little bit easier, even though everything was very complicated.
Yeah.
Just these little things were making it easier. And so I knew, I'm like, okay, I have to explore what this is, even if it's just for myself.
Mhm.
And and then it was like everything began to change as I began to really go within and apply these incredible principles to myself.
Mm.
So
So, Stacia, what changed like practically? Practically, what was the oh moment? You're like, oh, I am here now.
you know, it's going to sound very simple,
It usually is.
but we're not broken.
Yeah.
That seems so ridiculously simple, but we are always trying to fix.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd been doing,
Yeah.
is I'd been trying to fix. And if something didn't work, I try to fix it in a different way. And if
Yeah.
that fix didn't work, I try to fix the fix.
Yeah.
And it just was burying me, instead of saying, okay, this happened. Now what? And it's funny because I feel like we covered this, but years ago, you know, when everybody was on the internet, I remember a woman doing the now what?
Mm-hmm.
And I was so surface level that I couldn't. Now, I didn't have anything to come up with. It didn't make any sense for me.
Yeah.
It's like, now what? What is she talking about? You know, I can only be right here. Like, I didn't know I needed to go deeper.
Yeah.
And, you know, hindsight, she probably shouldn't have been teaching this class. But, you know, it was that principle of, okay, well, this happened, but I have to take away that charge. I have to take away that meaning.
Yeah.
And I can do that.
Yeah.
And I can flourish. Not I have to hold myself until this is healed and this is fixed and all this is broken. And then I can go and do things.
Yeah.
And that is what I was inadvertently doing to myself without knowing it,
Right.
because I just buried myself into the fix of the fix of the fix, because I thought everything was broken. And it turns out everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Everything's exactly the way it's supposed to be, and nothing is broken, which is some of the core foundations and the core philosophies of Akashic Reiki, which I just want to say for anyone listening, when we the energy, the frequency that you've received during through the attunement holds that knowing. And I think this is maybe why it drilled down beneath the surface, because there's a knowing within the frequency and through the teachings, which kept, get repeating from there. But it's interesting, and I feel like you're a great person to speak on this, because when you've got all of these like crazy life things happening, which from anyone's perspective, it's like, well, it's broken. Like, my mum's sick, my dad's sick, I've got to do all of this, like my husband died, like, there's like this. I've said to you before, even one of those things would floor somebody. And so this isn't, oh well, everything's perfect. Like what's the difference now in that kind of, or that line between that kind of gaslighty bypassy
Right.
thing that can be,
Oh,
and
definitely.
this nothing's broken energy? I wonder your
Right.
take.
So as we went along in level 1 and level 2, it was like everything that I was doing, the work that I was doing with myself, it all became so much easier because I was able to really not only discover things that were holding me back that I hadn't been, I don't know so much it's been willing to look at, but maybe just not able to see that the things that were there. And I was able to actually look at things with a different energy, maybe a different alignment. And I could say, well, you know what? This is okay. I now realize this part of, this about myself. I now see why this has happened. And I was okay with that. And I'm sure that, holding that flame
Yeah.
is a huge part of it, because it's like I've illuminated these spaces that maybe I didn't want to visit. Maybe I was unable to see. And then I could come to that understanding that I didn't need to make it this big thing. And I didn't need to allow it to hold me back, so that I could continue to grow and that I could continue to move through things that were really uncomfortable and, terrifying even at times last year. I went through
Yeah.
so much, and I've gone through so much, but at the same time, I have been able to give myself that compassion, that kindness,
Yeah.
to say that it's okay. And not only am I okay, I can hold this space so that other people know that they're okay. And I think that kind of, it's almost like once I discovered these pieces of myself that were part of me as a whole, and not part of me as, oh, I don't want to see this and I need to leave this behind, then I was able to put it where it needed to be,
Mm-hmm.
let it be there, let it come up if it needs to,
Mm-hmm.
but understand that I had this power over what I decided to do with it, and that it was okay to let these pieces of myself just be, just simply be, and to know that it's part of my evolution and it's part of my growth, and that everything is, I hesitate to say perfect, even when it doesn't feel, it
Yeah.
feels far from perfect.
Yeah.
It's just that knowing that I've got me, because I've allowed myself that space to be able to say that. Whereas before I had me compartmentalized.
Yeah.
Well, if I light a candle and I say a prayer, now it's like, no, I do a mini practice. I take a breath
Mm-hmm.
and I'm right there where I need to be. And that's been a huge,
Wow.
huge step forward for me
Mm-hmm.
in coming out of all of this that I'm still in.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. And I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it doesn't look okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay.
I feel in your words, Stacia, the difference between, if I may, some conversations we had previously where it's okay. It's okay. It's all okay. From, yeah, like it's okay, to like it's okay. Like it's not okay. But what I heard, you said something very interesting, and it's this thing about power over force. That when we're living from that, like these are all the things that I need to react to now that are coming from my awareness now, and I'm micromanaging it, like I'm putting all of my energy in there in order to sort it out. We can feel powerless against the amount of onslaught that's coming. Where the attunement comes in, because it comes into that base, that divine blueprint, that thing that knows how to get through all of this, not just to soothe it, but to grow from it and to evolve from it and to learn the life lessons and all the things that sit underneath, all the things really that the Akashic records are here for. It empowers that. So the power, the internal power becomes stronger than any of the life circumstances that sit above it. So you're meeting it with a different strength, I think's the word.
Yeah.
And whilst it doesn't, like, I wish it did in a way, make life easier or get rid of all the things. But also that's my human saying that. Like my soul will be like, well, you've got lifetimes to live in spirit and it'll be nice and easy up there. And this is the human playground. So, we're growing from here. And I think that shift, which I know for the first 6 weeks in the level one, we kind of, we kept on reminding ourselves of.
Oh, definitely. And I still had to go back to that because we completed level 2. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm spiraling now. What is happening? But then I was able to recognize
Yeah.
where I was draining my power, my energy, what I was giving, my power over to.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing the practices the way that I was all gung-ho to get in there. Oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and everything's going to be grand, and things were not grand.
Yeah.
And it was so easy to
Yeah.
sink back. But then I went back through the videos, which says a lot for you, because a lot of times we finish classes and we don't ever revisit them again. But with the Akashic Reiki, it was like, okay, what do I need?
Yeah.
And I would allow myself to say, you know what? Let me just, this is the exact one that I needed. I picked it. I didn't even know it's a number. Do I want week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's just a number. And it's like, boom,
Yeah.
this is what I needed today.
Mm.
And then it was like, okay, I just need to give myself that permission to allow what I need,
Mm.
not close myself off and
Mm.
say, oh, because of this, I can't take care of myself. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear the story, if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first, how are you going to help? And it's like, but that's the first thing we decide not to do
Yeah.
when things get rough.
Yeah.
And it's been helpful to those reminders.
Yeah.
I've been so helpful to climb back out of these spaces without, staying as long and making it mean anything. Like, okay, I needed to go back to week 1 because that's what I needed right then. And now I feel great and I feel grand and I'm not
And
making it mean anything.
that's why you get our lifetime access to the course, and you can come back and revisit the trainings as much as possible. And um especially for the first joiners, um I invite you to come back and do another round with me, just as part of that, because there is a lot there, and it's a reminder, because we have lived from these conditionings and we have these habits. And the Akashic way, what you have just described, is walking that. It's not, oh well, now I'm perfect. You are perfect, but now
Oh,
I do everything right. It's, oh damn, I'm spiraling, and recognizing that this isn't the truth, that this isn't the true me that's taking me there, that this is something it's an invitation. Everything's an invitation. It's one of the principles of Akashic Reiki. There's an invitation here. What is it? And for you, that invitation, I need to come back. I need to bring this practice back in. And then you mentioned something which I don't think I've spoken about in a great deal when I've spoken about Akashic Reiki, but you spoke about some of the micro practices that are in there, especially in level 1. Tell me about that.
Oh my goodness. It's, I've done so many things and I have so many practices,
Mhm.
but Melissa comes along and she's like, you know what? I am going to give you the principles of these things and then you're going to make it your own. And I'm like, wait, wait, wait. I need the steps. I need the scripts. I need the things. And she's like, no, you have all of the things. And I'm like, oh, dear me. So these little micro practices are basically, you've given us the structure of what we can do, what we can get out of it. And it's what we bring to it.
Yeah.
And they're incredible.
Mhm.
Some of them are so simple, but it's that allowance. It's that creating that space for what our soul actually wants,
Yeah.
and not making it mean anything. Like, let me get out my charts and my sheets, and oh no, I skipped step number 2. I've ruined it all, and
Yeah.
so you have these incredible little practices that you've given us that can just bring life back into a situation when it's needed. I'm having a rough day. Let me ground myself.
Yeah.
Let me, let me pull through this energy in a way that, seems so simple, but it's something I'd never seen before because it's wonderful and everybody should do Akashic Reiki. But it's like we have these you expanded my tool belt like in an incredibly infinite way that I didn't know that I needed these little tricks and these little tips.
Yeah.
And then I was able to make it my own. And it's like, well, look at me. When things start to go bad, I don't have to say, oh gosh, I don't remember what to do.
Mhm.
I put my hands where I feel called. And I bring the energy through that feels good.
Yeah.
And I'm so good with that. Whereas before I would doubt everything that I was doing
Yeah.
to help myself
Yeah.
because maybe I didn't do it like, the person I saw on the internet with
Mhm.
the perfect backdrop and the dogs that aren't barking and the mother that's not downstairs in a hospital bed and all of the things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I can drop through here in my bathroom
Yeah.
and here I am where I need to be. And
Exactly.
I have this energy and I have this strength to continue.
Yeah.
And I'm not holding myself down and making myself small.
Yeah.
I'm allowing myself to continue to grow and to continue to evolve.
Yeah.
And those micro practices have been absolutely life-saving for me. So, I mean, no pressure. Yeah.
No pressure. But like this was the thing, right? When I was developing the course, so the attunement came through. I can't really take credit for the attunement. They came through. I can take credit for the questions I was asking and the things that I'd done up to that point that allowed me to be in the position that I was to receive it. Right? I take credit for that.
Of course.
The actual coding and the attunement, that it came through as it was. But then my job was to translate that into a healing modality, which for me was two-part. One, how do we work with the energy of the Akashic records, which is non-judgment, everything's an invitation, we're always growing. Whatever you've done, you're always doing the best you can with what you've got. And there's always more. There's never an end, but not in a nothing, like nothing's broken. That was true for me. But what, and then the second part was, well, how do we create this as a healing practice for practitioners to work on others? What was the most important thing for me was that first bit. Really, it was, well, how do we, anyone who comes and does Akashic Reiki that's holding this flame within them, that's holding the principles, what's important? And what kept coming through to me was this one truth that yes, the records contain everything of the past, but more than that, the records are always recording. In every single moment, the records are recording. And so, yes, we can go back. And I love going back and finding out that we were all Cleopatra and all the things, right, that we've discovered. And it's fascinating and it's amazing. And we should talk about that one day because I've got
Right.
thoughts on that. But anyway, we can go and discover that, and there is a real power and strength in it. And it's not the only magic that the Akashic records holds. It's a part of it, and it's a great part of it. But what Akashic Reiki does is it brings it into the moment, and it's really asking the question of, what am I recording in my records now? in this moment. And from that knowing, the invitation was, okay, well, how do we make it in the now so it's a moment? And from there developed, I think it's 5 like mini practices. And when I mean mini, they're mini, right? They're like 30 seconds, 1 minute, maybe a couple which are like 2 to 5 minutes, but they're something you can do when you're queuing up at the supermarket and no one will know. But it's like in that moment, it brings that divinity, that divine blueprint back into the room, back online, back into witnessing those what we call overlays, those programmings, conditions, fears, doubts, all of the things that we often move from, which then just simply changes the perspective from a conscious point of view. But from an Akashic point of view, it changes everything. The whole record then goes, oh, we're still in love here. Oh, we're still in a vibrational movement here. And that's when our intuition gets clearer. That's when the trust in ourselves gets clearer. That's when that divine download comes in while you're in the shower and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, now I know what to do, because the conversation is open, the channels are open, the things that are blocking them, if you think of them as these overlays, as their lenses in front of your eyes, they're being removed, or at least thinned in the
Yeah.
moment,
Or placed
placed.
where they can just be,
Mhm.
simply be.
In the records rather than on loud in
Yeah.
the you need to do this and right.
Well, so many people teach it that way.
Mhm.
You have to heal all of this.
Mhm.
You have to go into all of the pain. You have, it's like all of this have tos,
Yeah.
shoulds, coulds. It's like, no, I've recognized, I've given it love.
Mhm.
It's no longer yelling, and
Yeah.
it's okay. Yeah.
It's amazing when, like, for me, when I looked at what have always been doing in the healing, wellness, psychological, psychotherapeutic spaces, that's just purely from an Akashic Records point of view. That was my curiosity. What's going on here? And things like, well, you need to go and you need to dig into all of your, past traumas. That, look, I'm not dismissing that. I'm a psychotherapist. Like, I understand the value of that. And I also understand the limitation of that. Because from an Akashic point of view, what is happening is I'm digging into it. And so in the moment I'm rewriting that record, I'm bringing it back up, which is great if the energy that then surrounds it is about evolution and growth. But where we see it, especially in kind of modern counseling, talk therapy, and these ones where you're there for a year and you feel like you're not moving forward, it's not because talk therapy is wrong. It's because the limitation of, well, how am I changing it from my record, from my soul point of view, is I ended up perpetuating the problem.
Blame and shame.
Blame and shame. Even if I'm doing it to heal, and this isn't the counselor's fault or anything, but it's the model in which we are seeing healing. Things are broken, they need to be fixed. You need to get to the bottom of it and have an understanding. Yes, you do need to have an understanding, because the understanding brings awareness, and with the awareness you bring compassion and love, and that's the bit that's missing.
Right.
So what we've done, people who are joining Akashic Reiki are from all walks of life. And we have people who have been through psychotherapeutic training, and that's wonderful, but we also have people who are like brand new, or who have just done a sui reiki, or have done some tapping, or have done some coaching or mentoring. Like, they've not gone into that psychotherapeutic space. And why should they have to? Because we all know we can re-traumatize somebody if we don't know what we're doing. And so for me, Akashic Reiki wanted to speak on the mind, body, soul level, but without that bringing back up of, having to hold the trauma, having to hold the past life experience and
Yeah.
get lost in the story.
Looking for the fix.
Looking for the
You
fix,
know.
there's nothing to fix,
Right.
right? It's literally flip the model. But what's interesting, and what I'm hearing from you through all of your stories, is every single one of these these examples that you're giving are about yourself, how you're living, how you're approaching things, how you're navigating through life, how your perspective has changed. And that's the magic, because now when you hold clients,
Oh,
it,
it's so much different because before, again, where's my script?
mm-hmm.
You know, someone would say, I did something wonderful. I couldn't accept that. No, no. I was just merely here. And, you know, like it was very difficult.
Vessel.
You know, it was very difficult. And I had a problem with, you know, people that like, I'm going to beam you this magic from my fingers. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Because are you saying that you can do this? And I had a lot of problems with the fix.
Interesting. Yeah.
And now it's not seeing the fix. It's, you know, it's almost like tapping into this dialogue of the person, what they actually need.
Yeah.
You know, not the surface level, like, okay, well, you hurt your neck in a car accident. I'm going to send you this energy. I'm sending you this energy. You know, even doing the holy fire
Yeah.
was just like transformational for me because it was like, wait a minute, this is outside of me
Yeah.
because this is not me.
Yeah.
This is me holding space
Mm-hmm.
for miracles,
Yeah.
for where can this person go? And it's these limitations that we put on ourselves. When we start to pull them away, that's when we see the transformations.
Yeah.
And so it's taking away those meanings of, you know, like, tune in. We're gonna zap you with our fingers, and you know, and it's me, and it's my connection, and it's my divinity. It's like, no, this is allowing us all
Yeah.
to work together and
Mm-hmm.
to harness, you
Mm-hmm.
know, these incredible magical energies that are always around us.
Mm-hmm.
And take away that story, you know, take away the shame, take away the blame, and get to what it is we need to grow. And so it's just really, it's changing everything.
Yeah.
And it's you know, coming back to the original question, like, why did I say yes? Why did I say yes? I had spent over 800, maybe 1,000 hours in a hospital last year. You know, what could have made me say yes to taking a class that was 12 weeks long? But it was that knowing,
Yeah.
that little voice that said, you're going to learn something, and I'm going to have Melissa tell you exactly what I just told you. And I'm like, wait a minute. How does she know? What is she? Where was she in my head before I hit that schedule button?
Yeah.
Like, but it
That's
was just,
what
yeah, I knew it. It was the crystals, wasn't
it
it?
was. It was the crystals. I've
They're
got
coming through.
like,
But yeah,
yeah, yeah, remote
it was
viewing
just,
crystals.
it was letting that voice, that little quiet voice, just listening to it
Mm-hmm.
and following, you
Yeah.
know, things that don't make sense sometimes take us to the most magnificent journeys that we never would have been on had we not just listen, just listen, just listen.
It's the most Akashic thing you can do, is to listen and to witness and to understand and to really come into that acceptance. This is what the records do. They accept everything of where you are, and there's always an and there's always a more. And that's what you've embodied. And now for your clients, and you know, you do your astrology work and a lot of other work, it changes how we hold things, because this isn't separate to astrology. This isn't separate to human design work. This isn't separate to anything. Because the Akashic Records holds all of it. But it gives, I think, a different understanding to why my chart is placed how it's placed. And, you know, this whole, well, assumption that we're perfectly made, which is another fundamental core of Akashic Reiki. I see it is flipping everything on its head.
Oh, totally, totally. And it's like bringing all of the parts of a whole,
Yeah.
and you know, not making this mean more than this. It's just everything is equally as important
Mm-hmm.
when you allow it. So,
I've got a question because you mentioned the holy fire. So you took the holy fire Reiki teacher training with me. You'd also done a Sui, was it a Sui
yes,
Reiki beforehand?
yes.
So like, what's the difference? If people are like, well, I've done the Reiki, I do need this Akashic Reiki thing. What's the difference?
Okay. With
Mm.
a Sui Reiki, I love, I mean, literally, it's the origin.
I
So
love.
I love the energy, but I always felt like I was doing it wrong because, you know, there's the lineage, and there's the people that are close to the lineage, and then there's the people that are, learning, and there's so much of the ego involved. I'm just going to say it, there's a lot of ego with a lot of teachers out there,
Mhm.
and they kind of want to be on a pedestal. Some people don't,
Mhm.
but I'm going to say a lot of people, they do like that. They want you to think that they hold the keys, because my key is higher than your key, because I learned from this person and you're learning down here. And so I always felt like I just wasn't doing it right, like, and I always felt like it was me. If something didn't heal, it was my fault.
Right.
What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
And then you came in with the holy fire, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is outside of me.
Mhm.
It's same principles, pretty, a lot of it's the evolution.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I'm like, okay, I really enjoy this because it's taken a lot of pressure off of myself, right?
Yeah.
And then you came in with the Akashic Reiki, and it's like, now you have all of these tools, you
Yeah.
have all of these things,
Yeah.
but it's more of a, I don't want to say intuition, but it is the intuition. It's a lot of intuitive, but it's also it's really connecting with the person deeper,
Yeah.
and it's really getting to what they need, instead of let me send you, let me just send you this. It's
Yeah.
like, no, let's talk about this. What's coming up?
Yeah.
Tell me your story.
Yeah.
Let's unpack this, and let's see what this energy is holding, so that we can start to maybe unravel if necessary, or maybe, bring something together if necessary. It's like everything is just so different, because it's not, uh, check, check, check. It's like, no, it's going to change. Every person's going to be different. And
Mm.
there's not this, well, let me see, we have done 4 out of these 5 things. Okay, now here's, boom, now you're fixed, right? Oh, you're not fixed. Oh,
Mm.
no. It's like, because we have this deeper connection almost.
Mm.
I don't know if that's the best word, but it's like, it's this deeper ability to go into the healing,
Yeah.
because it's more than the healing. There's
Mm.
just more involved. And that has really, it's really helped me to hold space better for people,
Yeah.
because I trust myself
Yeah.
more than thinking that, am I doing this right? It's like, no, everything is
Everything's balanced.
everything is perfect, and whatever's going to come up is going to come up. And
Yeah.
if I'm making you cry, I'm really sorry, but like, we're going to work through this.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is making you angry, let's talk about it. You want to talk about it? Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
And that's just really created a bigger dialogue, and created
So,
really bigger healings,
yeah.
so to speak, because it's that allowance for people to grow and evolve.
Yeah.
Whereas before, they wanted to fix
Yeah.
me. And this is not a fix me energy.
This is not a fix me energy. And and I think if we go back to the origins of Reiki, and especially like Master Asui, it never was a fix me energy. I think that kind of happened. You say about how close you are to the lineage. I think that kind of got disrupted somewhere along the line. And especially if you read any of the teachings of Mikao Asui, he was a very interesting guy, and it's like the healing capacity of it was almost secondary to the personal path and the clearing of the mind and the clearing of the, just for today I will not anger, I will not worry. But it was almost like when it came into the West, there was this fix me thing. And then there's been this massive boom of Reiki practitioners, especially, in the 2020 era, a lot of people came in, and it's like, well, it's this energy healing, but it started this, it's passive. I'm going to lie here on the couch and you're going to put your hands on me, and ta-da. And what is my measure of being fixed? And I don't know if this is fundamentally, it's a Reiki thing, but I think it's how it's been taught. I think it's been the mistrust of self from practitioners, and what we held, and what we think healing is, which is, I've come in with a broken leg and I'm going to fix healing, and then if I don't skip out of here, la li la, then I failed.
Right.
Whereas in Akashic Reiki, it kind of flips that into, okay, well, you really got a broken leg. What are we learning from it? What are we growing from it? But again, not in a everything's a lesson, but in a, I don't know, in a, what if there was a lesson? What might it?
Right.
How, if I could grow from this, what would it be?
Yeah.
What are my records holding on this? And now how do I want that to become the story of my
Yeah.
life?
Moving
Yeah.
forward. Like, how am I going to take this with me
Yeah.
without staying back in the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not going to skip out of here and pretend my leg doesn't hurt because I've been told I
Right.
need to positive think, because that was like the other side of,
Right.
it's really rooted in this acceptance of, this is where I am. What happened, and now what? And I think if we summarized it, is that what happened, now what? Yeah, that's quite a good summary. It's interesting because I think people hear Akashic Reiki and they're like, well, it's going to be a passive thing, and it is a hands-on energy healing modality in its core, no, in an aspect of it, in the simplicity of it.
Yes.
And so maybe it's important to say that the Reiki aspect, so Akashic Reiki, this isn't the Akashic Records and plus Reiki. This isn't Reiki plus the Akashic Records. The Reiki aspect is that attunement. It is that frequency. It's coming from the universal life force energy. And for me, I took the holy fire and I saw how that had evolved from Masui Reiki. And the Akashic Reiki continued that evolution. Again, not because anything was broken or wrong
Right.
beforehand, but because what I kept seeing through my work in the Akashic records was there was this wisdom in there that was quite particular to the records. And so whereas Sui Reiki is universal life force energy, I am tapping into the universe, I'm opening the tap and down it comes. And Holy Fire then kind of refines that energy and goes, where I'm now just going into the universe, where I'm going into the high heavens, and I'm their language, and I'm tapping in from that uh, more,
It's just a
they
different
call it,
space. It's a different
yeah,
frequency, a different energy.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's still an aspect of the universal,
Yeah.
but it's a more specific space from
Yes.
it, perhaps. Well, then the Akashic Reiki comes through that higher heavens and then through the Akashic records, so it holds all of that wisdom directly from it and then comes through. So that's the Reiki aspect. But also, when you look at Reiki and its origins, there's a lot of talk in there about mind and the clarity of mind, and even the principles. They're talking about mind stuff. I'm not angry. I'm not worried. Like, these are all things that happen. And it's taking, this was important for me. It was taking what I learned in this, particularly in the psychotherapeutic spaces, and my background in psychotherapy is spiritual psychotherapy, so already that it's a different energy from there, and in my shamanic and NLP and coaching and and all of that stuff, and looking at how all of that works together so that we can draw upon the Reiki, the Akashic Reiki energy, what we know in Akashic Reiki is the flame, this guiding force that holds that frequency. So that's doing the heavy lifting. So I don't need to be like, well, which protocol, which this, what hand position, la la la. That's holding that. I've developed it within me for 6 weeks. So I become the holder, the bearer. I'm walking this path. I can channel that through my hands if that's what is appropriate. So it's that simple. And I know that the human condition is not just about energy. In this day and age, we are way more focused on our physicality and our mentality, our psychology. And so it's bringing it's bringing into the conversation. I love how you said that. It's a dialogue, it's a conversation, it's a relationship with the body as an entry point, as an invitation, the mind as an entry point, as an invitation, the circumstances of what's going on around me, the chaos, the thing, the incident, the oh my God, I've lost it, right? Because now I'm overwhelmed, as the invitation. And then I can just turn it on. It's not even turning on because it's just there. I can tune into it, maybe is a better word.
Yes.
Put my hands on. There's a few kind of mantra symbols that we use in these in the moment practices that just brings up, it does the hard work for us, so we don't be like, what was the word she said, or what was this? It's just there.
Let me check my notes.
Yeah. And then when I'm holding my space for my clients, it's finding that appropriateness. Like, I'm not getting lost in the story, but we are, the story is the invitation in to allow what's the kintsugi, right? Like that's that's the entry point, so we can allow for that energy to move through. So what I find with this is the client is a lot more involved, and so they like accept the healing more. They understand their part in it, and this guru, the energy of, oh, I'm going to there and she needs to heal me, kind of dismantles, because it's not that. It's we're in it together, and where are we moving from here?
Yeah, and that makes it feel so much better.
Right.
So much better. Just that level of, I don't know, that frequency, it just changes everything.
Yeah.
I and it's really, I don't know. Like, I have my whole life, I have always been this, what can I do for you? You know, how can I, do you want me to do a song and a dance? Will I cheer up the room? And it's so much pressure to be that performative,
Yeah.
you know. And it wasn't that I was doing it out of like fakeness. It was like that was part of my safety,
Yeah. It
was
was your
this
condition.
performance. And so now, to peel all of that away and to be able to say, you know, at my core I have this kindness and I have this love, and I can express it in a way that it's going to feel good for me, and people are still going to enjoy it and love it and hold it. And that has been just, you know, it's been a game changer. So much less pressure.
You, Stacia, I don't know if you realize how perfectly you articulated that.
Oh,
So many times when we hear, people who need to put boundaries on, and then what happens? People swing the other way. They're like, well, I know, and no one can, my DMs are my sacred space, and I'm cutting off here, and I'm just going to say no. And then again, we're losing ourselves to this, I don't know, this construct that's somewhere. But there's a difference between, this kindness and this sense of I want to help people. When it comes from the overlay, when it comes from the program, the condition, the sense of safety that I have developed, it comes from a force or a lack of power, this obligation. So it's not about going, no, that's not right. It's going like, this is part of me. And what does it want? Well, like, I do want to be loved. I don't need to be loved. Like, I've got the love. I need. Oh, it's this. Mm, it's a different. It's not dismissing that want to do it, but it's coming at it from the divine blueprint. That kindness is an energy I'm mastering this lifetime. And so now I can express it not from this sense of obligation and from the martyr. I need to keep on doing this until I'm wrecked, and then, oh no, now I can't because. But from the space of, you know what? This helps me. This helps them. This helps all.
yeah.
I'm not losing me. I'm not losing them. I'm not losing all. I'm not healing all and losing me. I'm not healing me and losing all. It's all one. And that is the Akashic way. Like the Akashic records, they take your records, take you into like into account. Like they're there for you. Their sole purpose is you, but you're also not an island. Like that, you're surrounded by everything. And I truly believe, I truly believe to the core of my being, and this is what I've learned through my Akashic records, that we are all here to be the fullest version of ourselves, the truest version of ourselves, our desires, our traits, our astrology, and really honor that. Because when I do, well, then I become the transmitter of whatever it is that I'm meant to be the transmitter of. And then you who will grow from that transmission then lights up. And then when they light up, then this one lights up. And then when that one and it just keeps on going and it doesn't stop. And this is the everything. But whenever we lose the balance from it, especially if we lose ourselves, we're actually doing a disservice to not just our clients and our people around us, those connected to us, but dare I say, humanity as a whole.
Right.
Big work.
Big work.
Okay. Stacia, one last thing. If there's anything that you say to someone, if they're thinking, well, I quite like this idea of the Akashic Reiki, like what, I don't know, what do you want to say to them? It's your stage.
I mean, no pressure, Melissa. But if you are on the fence, or if you're just feeling a little nudge, this is more of a remembrance than it is like learning something new. It's like we have everything, but Melissa's put it in a way that allows us an easier way to access it, and a way that's going to work for us, instead of trying to, bend and put yourself in a mold. It's like, no, I have all of these things, and this person has all of these things, and it's literally taking what we have come here with, what we still are accumulating, and being able to tap into that, and use it to evolve, and to grow, and to remember who we are, this at a soul level.
Yeah.
And that's just incredible. And I mean, I think everybody should do Akashic Reiki, but that's just me. But it's just really knowing that nothing is broken. It's just remembering that frequency of that it's good. It's okay. It's hard to put into words. I said that a lot during our 12 weeks. I'm like, I don't know how to formulate a sentence. Yeah. Things are happening. But
so you'll lose the ability to talk.
You lose your ability to talk. Well, because it's just like everything is just like, it's like this knowing that you step into, and it's like, oh, I knew this. Yeah. But I didn't know this, but I know this. Yeah. And I don't know how to explain that I knew this, and I know this, and now I know this at another level. So yeah, I feel like it's just been a really game changer. Is not even a good word. It's been life changing for me to be able to take what I have and hold it in a different way, and whatever I do with it is perfect. And that's what I've really gotten out of this, is that this frequency, this attunement that I'm carrying has got me, and I've got me, and of course Melissa's got me. So yeah, it's hard to put into words. It's like there's so many things. So then when you try to like break it all down, it's like, it's just wonderful, and you need to go on this journey. And if your soul is saying, you know what, maybe this journey sounds like a journey I need, then you probably need this journey. Yeah. Well, I mean, you do, but I'm just giving you that option. So
thank you.
Thank you.
I am open to talking to anybody who, might have questions and just wants to feel the whether this is the right path for them. So you can always reach out to me, send me a message via the website, via this, wherever you're watching this. Please do. And on that note, Stacia, if anyone wanted to work with you, have an Akashic Reiki session, or any of your other work, then how would they reach you?
Well, my easiest way to reach me is the Stacia Galvin Stove on Facebook. I am on Instagram, but not much. I'll fix that. Um, and I do have a website that I'm going to be working on, and it's just staciastove.com. And I got to get back on that track because I've let life just push me aside, and now I'm learning that I can expand and make magic happen. So that will be up and running before long.
And you will be on the akashicreiki.org website.
Yes, for sure. For
Yes.
sure.
Okay, so do reach out to Stacia. She holds a lot of magic, and if you're drawn to her energy and want to try Akashic Reiki as a client, then please reach out. And I'll say this, I have never met anybody who has developed so much resilience from there is no level of exaggeration in how much you've been going through, and I see your commitment and your devotion to yourself, and to your growth, and I think that that deserves a lot of honor, so I want
Thank
you
you.
to know that.
I received that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you all for watching, and I might see you on the next round of Akashic Reiki. That's a lot.